The hostage situation, that has now emerged as a prime concern, and several of whom, of course, are foreign nationals as well. Do you think this will limit Israel's capability to react with full force?
It certainly can't help. They can't just go in with all guns ablazing or just shooting large numbers of bombs and other kinds of attacks. And that's exactly what the Palestinian side, the Hamas especially, had intended. I'm sure that's part of it because they wanted to blunt the ability of Israel to respond. And certainly they're going to hesitate because they're not just going to throw away the lives of Israeli citizens by just bluntly going forth and attacking. But it's going to slow it down, but it's not going to stop it because Israel has been previously attacked, especially among the civil population. If this was military on military, it might be a little bit different of a situation. But because so much of this violence has been directed against Israeli civilians, the government can't help but have a very, very powerful response. And I fear for what's going to happen in the coming days.
So, it's very interesting to note where the attack started from. They paraglided and landed just at the venue of a rave party, which was held here at Kibbutz Re'im, if I'm getting the pronunciation correctly. Now, this is one spot which has, for years and for decades, has attracted a lot of foreign nationals who come and enjoy their parties over there. Was it strategically chosen to start the attack over there because it will send tremors across the world to several nations, and we're already seeing so many hostages from the US, UK, and so many other places in the world?
That's actually been the most grievous attack of the whole thing, because it's not like they got caught up in the violence. It was very clear that that was a direct target, because not only did they get rocket fire, but then they had gunmen go in there and literally just mowing people down. And there was also, because of the large group, that was also one of the places where the Hamas gunmen actually came and grabbed a lot of people, and many of them are still missing to this day. And that is it's just horrific.
Should we expect U.S. boots on ground along with other international governments if Israel is unable to curb the situation? Because Netanyahu has already said it's going to be a long and difficult war. So do you feel other governments...
No, absolutely not. No, the United States is not going to put any boots on the ground. Israel was caught unprepared for this. They had a terrible intelligence failure. Their military initially failed, but they will recover because they have a lot of capability. They will definitely continue to defend their own selves. They don't need any help other than perhaps some ammunition and some intelligence support, which we're going to provide, according to President Biden. But they have the capacity on the ground to be able to take care of their own security.
Right, absolutely. This has brought to fore the massive intelligence failure that we've seen. And taking cues from what Shivan just said, President Herzog has asked for an emergency government as well. Could you talk to us about the implications of this?
They have to do two things simultaneously, Israel does. First of all, they've got to stop the initial bleeding. They've got to stop the attacks, reestablish security around the Gaza border area there, and simultaneously they've also got to prepare for the next phase of the operation. Now, there's going to be time for them to go and try to understand why they had this intelligence failures, what are the kind of things that's going to mean in terms of the military hierarchy or even the government, but those things have to wait until later. First of all, they've got to reestablish security, and then they've got to start planning and preparing for what their next offensive mission is. And I think that's what you're going to see probably in the coming days, but I don't think you're going to see any big moves for a few days because it takes time to get those kind of operations ready.
So the Arab chief met with Sergei Lavrov. Now, we have to just consider the role that Russia can play over here, and what is the stance that the Arab League would be taking here, because they can definitely have a strong role in bringing some sort of a ceasefire or control in the region. Talk to us about what role both powers can play here.
It's unclear what Russia would do. We'll look at that first, because they have desire to have good relations with Israel. So they're certainly not going to be against them. But obviously, the Russians have definite military presence in the Middle East, in Syria, with the government there. So they do have a role that they want to play there. But I think that they're looking for peace. The Arab League, on the other hand, at least so far, especially in the UAE, has been making comments that they want to, all sides to stand down, to bring a peaceful solution to this. They don't want to see war go on because they've been working real hard to have a rapprochement between the Arab and Israeli governments, and they don't want to see that derailed and to turn upside down to potentially cause more conflict in the region, not less. And I think that you're going to see them do whatever they can to try to calm the situation down.
Right, and I think the question now that's on everyone's minds, what's next? What is your assessment?
I think that you're seeing right now the military leaders and the political leaders in Israel right now are very busy planning to, what they're going to do next. They're going through different scenarios. They're looking at the pros and the cons. They're seeing what the resources they have that are available right now. and then they're getting people ready. You've actually already seen a lot of military vehicles, armored vehicles, mobile artillery pieces already be moving into different areas to try to establish security. And I suspect, though, because of so much civilians have been killed, I think you're going to see a very, very heavy response from Israel when they're ready.